The devil never saw it coming. He mistook your stillness for surrender. Now he's choking on his own script. They thought you were done, that you lost, that your silence was submission. What they didn't know is that you were just charging quietly in the background, like a storm rehearsing its thunder. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Patience isn't always virtue. Sometimes it's precision warfare. According to behavioral psychology, people undervalue quiet strength because they equate action with dominance. So when you didn't react, didn't retaliate, didn't clap back like a circus act, they assumed they'd won. Spoiler, they assumed wrong, like astronomically wrong. Because you weren't waiting out of weakness. You were watching. You were building. You were giving them just enough rope. And now, they're dangling in the very trap they thought you were too soft to set. This isn't a revenge story. This is the unveiling of a truth they were never ready to face. The chosen ones were never asleep. They were just letting the snakes slither in far enough to close the door. Welcome to the reckoning. Let's talk about it. Number 1. Your stillness was strategy, not surrender. They said you were quiet, too quiet. Like you had nothing to say, nothing to offer, no fire in you. They thought you froze, that you hesitated, that you missed your moment. What they didn't realize was that stillness isn't the same thing as weakness. You weren't stuck. You were scanning, reading the room, watching the patterns, listening, not just to what was said, but to what was hidden between the lines. While they ran their mouths and played their games, you were sitting back, tracking every move. And they mistook that for fear. That's their flaw. They confuse noise with power and movement with progress. So when someone doesn't rush, doesn't flinch, doesn't react, they assume they're irrelevant. But you weren't inactive. You were storing energy. Like someone conserving their breath underwater, knowing they'd rise when the time was right. You didn't make a scene, you made sense. And now that you're stepping into motion, they can't keep up. They're confused, scrambling, trying to figure out how you suddenly flipped the dynamic without ever raising your voice. But it's not sudden. It's been building this whole time. You weren't waiting to be saved. You were quietly sharpening the blade they didn't think you had. People like that don't pay attention to the quiet ones. They're addicted to their own reflection, so busy performing that they don't realize they're walking right into their own exposure. And you just let them. You didn't have to drag anyone down. You just gave them room to show everyone who they really are. Your patience didn't delay your power. It delivered it. They thought you froze. But really you were standing so still, so steady, they couldn't read you.